Well, turning to our next story here, we're joined now by Josh Hammer, Newsweek senior editor at large and host of the Josh Hammer Show. Thank you so much for being here today. Looking forward to our conversation on this. You know, after Allie's reporting, the headline has been Tom Homan suggests placing U.S. citizen children of deported parents in halfway homes. Take a listen to this clip, please.
Some illegal alien children can be detained, but no, as far as U.S. children, that's going to be a difficult situation because we're not going to detain U.S. citizen children, which means, they're going to be put in a halfway house, or they can stay at home and wait for the officers to get the travel arrangements and come back and get the family. The best thing to do is for family to self-deport themselves, because that makes it easier for the family. They can get their arrangements all together, and they can leave on their own behalf.
So what do you make of these most recent comments from Homan, especially when you consider these mass deportation plans will take a significant amount of cooperation?
Yeah, so look, the Trump administration is going hard on the Trump campaign, on the Donald Trump signature issue. Immigration continues to be the signature issue. This has been the issue ever since Donald Trump came down that gilded escalator in Trump Tower back in the summer of 2015. When it comes to birthright citizenship, when it comes to the border wall, when it comes now in the 2024 campaign context to the issue of so-called mass deportations. I mean, he's clearly rhetorically going all in there. Ultimately, come January 20th, the proof is going to be in the pudding. I mean, for an operation of the nature, the likes of which folks like Tom Homan are talking about, I think it's worth noting that you need a lot of money. I mean, not only do you need at least some level of cooperation, likely at a state or local level, or at a bare minimum, you need people to not be actively obstructing your law enforcement efforts there, but you also just need a lot of money. I mean, you need physical manpower, you need agents, you need ICE agents who are actually going to go to actually engage in all of these deportation acts there. And ultimately, the executive branch does not have the power of the purse. It's a basic matter of constitutional law. That has to come from the Congress. And we see what happens with this Congress when it comes to one continuing resolution, midnight battle after the other to keep the government open and to avoid a shutdown there. It's a whole mess, obviously. So I think it remains to be seen exactly how the X's and O's of this are going to play out. I personally like basically everything I hear from Tom Homan, but I will say that Tom Homan does not also have an official title in this incoming administration. He's been given the somewhat amorphous title of border czar. That's not an actual cabinet position, obviously. He is going to be subordinate, insofar as I understand it, to Kristi Noem, the incoming presumptive Secretary of Homeland Security. So that is another question that remains very much unanswered, is how much actual authority is Tom Homan going to be given there? I don't know the answer to that. I think it's ultimately going to be discretionary very much in the eyes of Kristi Noem and to some extent President Donald Trump as well. So I like that Tom Homan is saying a lot of the right things there, but for various exogenous reasons when it comes to funding and when it comes to the actual power that he has, I think it remains to be seen exactly what this looks like in practice.
So what about these threats to sanctuary cities that Allie outlined? If they knowingly impede this process, they will be held to account, according to Homan. Trump's team reportedly looking at withholding federal funds as a way to compel cooperation there. How do you see all of this playing out when Tom Homan himself has said this mission will start in Chicago and the mayor here, Brandon Johnson, appears not to be on board?
Yeah, look, so let's do a little constitutional law 101, I guess. So the federal government and the state and local governments are two separate spheres of sovereignty. So they operate in entirely separate spheres there. So it is true that there is nothing necessarily that would compel the state government, local law enforcement, let's call it CPD, Chicago Police Department. There's nothing that would necessarily compel them to actively assist DHS and ICE when it comes to law enforcement, to immigration enforcement operations. However, you also cannot actively obstruct federal law enforcement efforts. That's just the basic that's the basic effect of the supremacy clause of Article 6 of the Constitution, which very clearly says that the Constitution, federal laws, treaties, and so forth are supreme to state laws, unless we want to relitigate the whole John C. Calhoun nullification crisis from the 1840s, which I'm not entirely sure in the year 2024, about to be 2025, we want to do. Moreover, when it comes to the funding efforts there's actually a relevant Supreme Court case from the late 1980s called South Dakota versus Dole, where the U.S. Supreme Court, by I believe a 7-2 margin, a pretty wide margin, upheld the constitutionality of defunding efforts that are targeted in a relevant policy area to try to induce the states to cooperate with a core bread and butter federal government initiative. So based on that precedent, it indeed would be legal for the incoming Congress and the incoming administration to defund so-called sanctuary jurisdictions that are trying to actively obstruct efforts.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.